Welcome back to Hope 2020. We have our next speaker with us right now, Nancy Wolfson. Thank you very much for attending Hope 2020, Nancy, and you can go right into your presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Yes, welcome everyone. This is Nancy C. Wolfson, and I'm really happy to be with you. My presentation is called Makerspaces, hacking the space industry by enabling effective cross-industry collaboration and enhancing the space workforce development. All right. I am the Vice Chair of the International Astronautical Federation on Near-Earth Objects, President of Disrupting Space Company, and the designer of Belong to All research program. This non-technical presentation intends to outline best practices for everyone, including space specialists who wishes to participate in or organize cross-industry multidisciplinary initiatives, as well as building relations and partnerships with the maker community. Table of contents. Let me see if I can, sorry everyone, let me move this. The Outer Space Treaty, a Space Belongs to All program, and what was the Space BLIM 7? Connecting space specialists and the maker community. What is cross-industry collaboration? An outline of cross-communication, organizational and workplace culture process, and its implementation, organizing cross-industry projects during COVID-19, get involved in space activities. Conclusion. This presentation is part of the Space Belong to All program. This program was inspired by the Outer Space Treaty signed on January 27, 1967, Article 1. Here we go. Space BLIM 7. We will examine the lessons learned, achievements, and difficulties from an important, unprecedented partnership formed between space professionals, 3 maker spaces in the DMV area, and Wikimedia, nonprofit organization, DC members from the United States. Thanks to my work, where did it go? Thanks to my work as an independent scholar in science, technology, and cross-collaboration process, within the space industry, I was invited to the White House Office of Science and Technology Policy Nation of Makers meeting in Washington, D.C., 2016. Okay, this is the last thing about me, just so you know. My work in education, communication, and research within the space industry is what I seek to inform and inspire the general public to learn more about space exploration, planetary defense, NEOS, and the cosmos. Through my academic and outreach global activities, I advocate for gender equality, to increase women involvement by making mentoring opportunities more accessible across the space industry. Great part of my work focuses in the implementation of non-traditional models in academia, business, and education for various sectors of the space industry. My research studies the connection between space concepts and societal aspects. I aim to foster a future sustainable, diverse, and healthy human colony in outer space. All right, let's get to it. What is the Space Treaty? All right, here we go. Some technical difficulties. Okay, the Outer Space Treaty was signed on 27th of January, 1967, Article 1. of the Space Treaty. The exploration and use of outer space, including the moon and other celestial bodies, shall be carried out for the benefit and in the interest of all countries, irrespective of their degree of economic and scientific development, and shall be the province of all mankind. What does the Outer Space Treaty mean to us? It represents the basic legal framework of international space law and the beginning of outer space exploration. Due to the advancements in space technology and new research, the idea of living and working in outer space is closer to becoming a reality than previously thought. We connect space and non-space specialists. Most people know space through news, stories, and entertainment. Some might know the space technology is making their life easier, but they will not consider themselves able to contribute in any way. At the same time, the space community has remained mostly among itself. We argue that it is the responsibility of the space specialists to create a new partnership and collaborative projects that connect space and non-space actors and explore new, non-traditional academic models in environments that can ignite creativity to foster cross-industry collaboration if we wish to continue innovating as well as enhancing the space industry workforce development. What was the Space Belong to All program? It's a 5-phase non-traditional educational cultural initiative that involved a diverse range of activities that included, but was not limited to, knowledge transfer, new technology, research, and post and project cultural and educational events. In the described initiative, a space was brought directly to people and was designed to create partnerships agreements and formalize relations between space and non-space individuals. By applying non-traditional collaborative techniques, we enable specialists from other industries with technical and non-technical backgrounds to get involved in space activities. Furthermore, we expanded the initiative repertoire of collaboration formats to makerspaces and nonprofit organizations in order to further disseminate space knowledge and to get the public involved in space activities. This initiative has been in Belgium, India, and the United States. And today we're going to focus in the one from the United States. In December 2017, Makerspaces and Wikipedia organizations joined forces through a high-altitude balloon project called Space Blim. We will examine the lessons learned, achievements, and difficulties from this unprecedented partnership formed between the space industry professional, 3 makerspaces in the DC, DMV area, and Wikimedia. Space Blim was a project that included but not limited to knowledge transfer, new technology, research, and post-academic and cultural events. In here, I will describe the Space Blim 7 project. I designed this project looking for it to serve as a blueprint for effective cross-pollination, tinkering, cross-industry communication, and collaboration process regarding logistics, alternative organizational structures, and workplace culture, as well as providing problem-solving strategies with innovative solutions to challenges. This non-technical presentation intends to outline best practices for anyone, including space specialists who wishes to participate in or organize cross-industry multidisciplinary initiatives, as well as building relations and partnership with the maker community. Cross-industry collaboration as the new norm for innovation. Whereas the growth of any industry used to be determined by efficiency, these days it is mostly driven by inspiration and creativity. Today, it is not enough for organizations to keep their project within their confines of their own company or even their own branch of industry. Project managers, entrepreneurs, business owners are starting to discover the benefits of cross-industry collaboration and learning how to modify their project plan and execution to effectively achieve a strategic innovation. A Space Blimp high altitude balloon project was designed to bring people together for a shared interest, going to space. We will use the Space Blimp project as an examine a cross-industry collaboration process, but we will focus on management, organizational, logistical, communication aspects, as well as the project design. We will outline the most effective steps when working in a cross-industry project. When working with a cross-industry collaboration concepts, our first step will be designing a well-thought communication plan. Execution and resources becomes secondary. And what is the main component in cross-industry collaboration? Communication, communication, and communication. In the Space Blimp 7 project, understanding the challenges in organizing a group from different backgrounds, work environments styles, communication styles, and locations was crucial to ensuring the success of the project. To keep the project inclusive, educational, research-oriented, and functional, the mission's objective requirements, you have to remain flexible and to a certain degree organic, based on the individual's capacities, in order to achieve the mission scope within only 5 months. As a project manager, I view myself as a translator, an ambassador. Here are a few things you must consider including in your cross-industry project design. You are the one in charge to find common vocabulary between space and non-space actors. If there is conflict, you want to keep a calm but firm attitude to de-escalate situations. Consider including in your project design a system that creates an environment where all space and non-space actors can communicate effectively. Review your original plan and adjust it as needed in order to achieve the goal of the project. Effective cross-industry communication. Acknowledging the different perspectives of each team, approach the different opinions with inquiry, avoiding the us versus them mentality. Remain positive and see the positive intent of your collaborator. Remember, you both want this. Don't have a negative reaction to antagonistic behavior, but remain positive and focus on the end goal of the project. Be proactive in addressing and resolve conflict in a sincere, professional manner. Be ready to rephrase. Communication between technical and non-technical teams can be challenging. A non-technical, the same goes for teams coming from different industries. You should adjust your vocabulary and terminology accordingly. This is just a quick outline. We're not going into details because each aspect can take hours and hours. So this is just an outline. Identify the common factors in relation to all the different aspects of the project. Communication goes both ways. Design a system that allows everyone to express their thoughts and to listen to each other without judgment. This is an active skill. Miscommunication goes both ways. Agree to disagree. This is acceptable. It can be part of a creative process, and it can push the boundaries of innovation. Keep the end goal as a priority. You want the project to succeed, the company to win, and the client to want to receive the end product. Appreciate the technical and non-technical approach equally, because both are required to achieve success. Do not focus on the problem, focus on the solution. Avoid reacting, but instead ask questions to understand where the disconnect happened. set a communication ground rules, and watch for communication patterns. If possible, get a third party involved to make sure both parties are on the same page. Keep your tone and context in check. Focus on the team, not the individuals. This is crucial. Accountability is important. Therefore, keeping notes, emails, meetings, reports in a cross-industry project becomes vital. Do your best to not take things personal. Communication differences between the space organizations and makerspaces. So let's start with the space organizations. Communication. It is a good idea in an initial introduction to include your bio and or CV, and definitely include your LinkedIn profile. To join a project, find the application, state your reasons clearly in writing, and follow protocol. Getting in the space industry can be a little challenging. So these are a few tips that you want to remember. Makerspaces. Based on my experience and research, it is a good idea to have a gentle approach and feel welcome to join their activities without much protocol. It's a very welcoming community. Let's go and talk about the Space Blink 7. I knew organizing a project of this magnitude will be challenging, and many hours were dedicated to logistics, communication. Over 50 documents were written and reviewed during the process. The project had technical, logistical, educational, outreach goals, as well as to foster creativity, connecting participants to space concepts and to the maker culture. Operating a team spread across multiple locations was challenging. As the designer of the project, 50% of the communication was with me holding meetings with each organization individually. And this is mostly for people from different industries that wish to create connections with the makerspaces. I had driven to each location at least twice a week for months. It was important to establish a close, more personal relationship when working with members from makerspaces, which is quite different than the space industry. We don't base our relationships in personal relationships. We base it in more like professional aspects. We used a mixture of communication tools to stay connected, such as conference calls, in-person meetings at all participant locations, maintain a Google Groups and a Google Drive account. Cross-industry collaboration, non-traditional organizational structure. Be willing to explore alternative organizational models when you are working in a cross-industry project. Avoid micromanaging. Build trust by clearly explaining your intentions and follow any agreements made. Practice transparency. Practice inclusiveness. Self-learning and self-management is encouraged. Basic organizational differences between the space organizations and makerspaces. In our industry, the space industry, we are used to use traditional hierarchical models that I believe should change, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. Now, makerspaces, they use non-traditional organizational models. There is a board of directors to mostly deal with the organization's logistics. So it's a little more flexible in the way that they organize their projects, their organizations, and how they interact with their own community. Space Blink 7, cross-industry, non-traditional organizational structure. I implemented a hierarchical group structure, but with a twist. It was only adopted to design responsibilities and where accountability was required. Self-management was encouraged. In order to avoid bureaucratic obstacles, we divided the roles and responsibilities between technical and non-technical subjects, in giving the participants the opinion to get involved and make commitments according to their own skills, availability, and interest in the project. Let's talk about the workplace culture. Cross-industry workplace culture. Things that you want to keep in mind is, what is their social environment? And this is for both ways. Both sides have to be questioning itself. So I suggest both of you to do your research, learn about the workplace culture of the organization you or team you want to collaborate with. Keep in mind, different organizations have different ways of interacting with each other, management, clients, etc. Do the employees work in a large offices, cubicles, alone or together most of the time? Remain flexible and adaptable. Encourage participants to share their ideas. Innovation comes from creativity. Okay, do all makerspaces share the same workplace culture? And this is for people that wishes to collaborate with makerspaces. So it's an easy answer, no. Each makerspace has its unique workplace culture. They have different styles in terms of communication, project development, social interaction, etc. This tip is for professionals from other industries that wish to collaborate or work within the makerspace community. Do your research in terms of workplace culture to find the best fit for you. If you don't, I can guarantee that you will run into issues. It's quite different from how we handle our workplace culture within the space industry organizations. Basic workplace culture differences between the space organizations and makerspaces. The space organizations, workplace culture, the etiquette and rules will be usually easy to find. It will be in the project or company HR documents. Makerspaces, their workplace culture, it varies. And it can be, for us outsiders, it can be a little tricky to learn it. So again, I suggest you to go to different makerspaces, do your research, and find the best fit for you. Organizing cross-industry projects during COVID-19 between space specialists and makerspaces. Now, we do have a current project ongoing, an ongoing current project. I can't really give much details about it because we're still in the planning phase. But a few things that we have learned in these few months is that the global crisis due to COVID-19 has somehow forced us to rethink how we could take cross-industry communication and collaboration to the next level. Oh. Technical difficulties. Okay. One thing that we're doing more than ever is holding virtual meetings with our own teams as necessary to clarify information before bringing it to the general meeting. That will save you a lot of time and it will be less confusing for both teams. One of our priorities is to keep everyone safe. Avoid unnecessary travel and gatherings. Prioritize and make use of online technology. Some of us are still learning about it. Have an honest conversation with your project managers, team members, sponsors of clients about the future of the project during the current global crisis. It is possible to continue during this time, or do we need to pause it? These are questions that you wanna ask yourself and you wanna ask your team. Revisit your procurement commitments. Discuss all possible scenarios for your project that might be affected due to COVID-19. Consider increasing the frequency of your meetings. I know Not everybody likes that, but it's all about communication now. Now more than ever, open and honest communication could potentially save your cross-industry project. Again, and I'm going to keep repeating this, keep an optimistic approach when there is some uncertainty. Remember, we are learning to deal with the current circumstances as we go. Implement a review cycle. Again, implement a review cycle. Be ready to adjust your project plan as needed. And I suggest your review cycle should go, if it's not weekly, at least every other week. You never know what is going to happen in these days. Let's see. Cross-industry project between a space specialists and makerspaces. So here I'm going to give you a couple of makerspaces that already have been working have been working in space activities. So one of them is The Garden. It's a co-working space in Alexandria, Virginia, United States. The main organizers of The Garden are also involved in one of the most popular space parties called Juris Night. Now we have, of course, the Hub, Space Blim. My integrated and multidisciplinary approach made collaboration between space specialists and members of Rockville Science Center, Makerspace in Maryland, and allocated Hackerspace in Maryland and Hack DC in DC possible. Okay, these are some examples of space activities connected to makerspaces. We already talked about The Garden. Juris Night. What is Juris Night, you might ask? Juris Night parties and events are held around the world every April in commemoration of the astronaut Yuri Gagarin, becoming the first human to venture into space on April 12, 1961. Then we have Carolado Makerspace, who used to host Silversat. Now, unfortunately, Carolado Makerspace closed a year or so ago, unfortunately. So currently, Silversat is operating from the Rockville Science Center, which is in a library in Rockville. Silversat is a community-based nonprofit for students in grades 6 to 12 in now in Rockville, Maryland. Rockville, Virginia. In Rockville, with a mission of building and launching CubeSats. This is actually a really quite interesting local project that if you're interested in the space activities, I suggest you to contact them. They're always looking for volunteers. When I brought the high altitude balloon project proposal to each of the 3 makerspaces, I had to carefully think how I will answer the next question. And again, if you are an outsider, you're coming from a different industry and you wish to collaborate with the maker community, be ready to answer this question. Why should I care about getting involved in space activities, such as a high altitude balloon? It took me months to answer that question. And if I go into those details, it took many hours, many meetings with each organization. And in a different presentation, we can go into the details. Or you can always contact me. Now, I want to give you a few of our most famous organizations and projects space related, and hoping that you will want to get involved with us and volunteer with us. So we have Asteroid Day. What is Asteroid Day? It's an organization supported by the UN, and we celebrate Asteroid Day in June 30 every year. They have a very nice volunteer program. So if you wish to learn more about asteroids, NEOs, and planetary defense, probably this is an organization that you could potentially join and volunteer with. Then we have World Space Week. Now, World Space Week will give you the opportunity as a non-space actor to create your own space project. And they will help you with advertising your own project through a Space World Week, through their own channels. So this is a quite interesting a space project, a space organization that we have. Then we have Satellite. Satellite, for the ones that are in Washington, D.C., is a space conference. And it happens in the convention center every year. Unfortunately, this year we have to, it was disrupted and we couldn't really go through all 3 or 4 days that the conference is supposed to last. But COVID-19 disrupted a lot of things, not just for the space industry, but for all different industries. But this is a great place to also collaborate and volunteer. They are very welcoming in terms of volunteers. Then we have Juris Night, another project that is always looking for volunteers, and you can also organize your own space party, and they will give you guidance and they have the resources to help you out. Now, Explore Mars. If you are obsessed, as most of us coming from the industry are, this is an organization that is in charge to organize every year the Humans to Mars Summit. It's going to happen virtually in October 2020. Then we have Ascend, powered by AIAA. And unfortunately, this is another conference that is going virtually. Well, actually, it's a great way to test how virtual conferences look like. It will happen in November from the 16th to the 18th, 2020. And they also always looking for volunteers. So these are one of the few organizations that are very flexible, and they always have a volunteer program. Let's see, let's continue. Now, the IAC, the International Astronautical Conference, which is powered by the International Astronautical Federation based in Paris. The IAC is the one place and time of the year where all global space actors come together. The event attracts more than 6,000 participants each year, covering all space sectors and topics. It offers everyone the latest space information and developments in academia, industry networking opportunities, contacts, and potential partnerships. And as always, we have great people coming into our conferences like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, and they choose conference like this one to talk about the new developments winning the space activities. Okay, cross-industry collaboration, building bridges between space industry and the maker community. Makerspaces provides, and this is the reason why I created this presentation, which it goes into the outline of some basic practices that we can have when organizing a cross-industry project. Makerspaces provide hands-on learning, help with critical thinking skills, plus they boost self-confidence. Makerspaces are also fostering entrepreneurship and are being utilized as incubators and accelerators for business startups. We argue that Makerspaces' technology knowledge transfer model can enhance the space workforce development and lead to innovative research, inspiring the next generation inside and outside the space community. And this is one of the reasons when I'm sending my presentations to to space conferences and I talk to my peers and my colleagues, I talk about makerspaces to them, which is quite important to get to know each other. Okay. Cross-industry collaboration, get involved in space activities. These are very interesting facts that not everybody knows. And it's called disruptive technology. What is space technology? What is space technology is used in everyday life. And these are just fun facts. The technologies behind inventions like portable vacuum cleaners, blankets, invisible braces, and many more were first discovered by NASA, solely for space exploration. Other technological advancements pioneered by space research include cardiac pumps, artificial limbs, the internet, and the camera sensors, among many, many more. Diapers, baby formula. So if you want to learn more about disruptive technology, I suggest you do some research. It's quite interesting. Okay, we're almost at the end. And this presentation was titled Makerspaces Hacking the Space Industry by Enabling Effective Cross-Industry Collaboration and Enhancing the Space Workforce Development. Cross-industry, building bridges between space industry and the maker community. About this presentation, each aspect mentioned in this presentation can take many hours of explanation. In this presentation, we outline only the basic components of cross-industry collaboration between space specialists and the maker community. If you wish to learn more about cross-industry collaboration process, please contact me on LinkedIn as Nancy C. Wolfson, or you can email me at lessonsbynancy@gmail.com. Thank you. JP?
Thank you very much, Nancy. That was an excellent presentation, and learned a lot about the space program and how important makerspaces are. And I had a question also. Has there been any efforts by the main private space companies like SpaceX and those types to also collaborate with makerspaces, or is it mostly like NASA and government agencies collaboration?
Well, as right now, they're quite focused on their own thing. Unfortunately, some of us think that having a bigger vision of what is out there outside our industry will really, truly benefit our space industry and our space program. Unfortunately, and I said unfortunately, the major actors in the space industry are not necessarily looking into opening doors for close collaboration with the maker community. But this is why one of my missions is to start building those bridges in between. So as I said before, one of the things that I usually do is I talk about education, and I bring the maker culture, I bring the maker spaces environment, and what I have learned from this, from connecting them and from collaborating with them is, and I bring that to my peers, to my colleagues in the space industry. But just to answer your question, unfortunately, at this point, as you can see, we're taking bigger steps winning the space industry. But in terms of collaboration, across industry collaboration outside our own industry, we still have a long way to go. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, that was very good. One of the questions was the challenge between collaboration and competition. However, I think the makerspaces are a great way for people to get involved with the space and advance their personal development in technology like that.
Oh, yes, absolutely. Especially if the maker spaces have activities, with 3D printing and robotics and all of this. And all of these activities are connected to things that we we are utilizing and we talk about in the space industry. So, I definitely see the connection between the space industry, space actors, and the maker culture. So let's make that bridge bigger, louder, and more clear for both sides.
All right. Well, thank you very much. I think we've covered all the questions we have. I want to thank you for presenting here at Hope 2020, and on behalf of all of the attendees and the volunteers and everybody here at Hope 2020, we thank you for sharing with us.
Thank you so much for having me, and see you next time.
Yes, see you next time. Thank you. All
Thank
right,
you.
so we're going to go ahead and head off to some bumps, and we'll be back with the next keynote at noon. So please stay tuned. Thank you.